Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Laura, and today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my February TBR. These are, of course, all of the books that I hope to be able to read in the month of February, and I'm participating in two really fun readathons this month. I'll tell you a little bit about those and the people that are hosting them, and leave the video announcements for those readathons in the description box down below in case you want to join me. The very first readathon happens on February 1st, and it goes through February 5th, and that is the X's and O's readathon. This readathon is hosted by a group of 5 booktubers, and I found this, I believe, either through Lena from Lena's Bookshelf, and I think also from Jordan, Sorry Booked Solid. I'm subscribed to both of them, and so I saw their announcements first. They are technically on Team X, so the way that they have done this readathon is that they have Team X, they have Team O, and so there are different like photo prompts, reading prompts, depending on which of the teams that you choose. One is more like the dark romance stuff, and Team O is a little more of like the light stuff. Even if you're not like a super romance girly, you can really make this any way that you want with the way these prompts are. They're going to host like a movie night. There's a Discord for it. It sounds like a really good time. So one of the reading prompts for Team O that I will be doing their bingo board for is Pink on the Cover, and for that I have chosen Happy Place by Emily Henry. I read a couple of Emily Henry's books last year. I read Book Lovers and Beach Read. They were pretty good. I think I gave Book Lovers a 4 and Beach Read like a 3.5. I'm not like a super romance girly, so I'm still trying to find my perfect taste when it comes to romance books. I've heard that Happy Place is kind of a little bit different, like it's less focused on the romance, which makes me think I might actually like it more. Harriet and Wynn have been the perfect couple since they met in college. They broke up, but they haven't told their like group of friends yet. And their group of friends are going on this vacation, and they decide that they're just going to act like they're still together for the sake of having this like one last vacation with their group of friends. I think it sounds really fun, but like I said, I've heard some mixed reviews about Happy Place, so we'll see what I end up thinking about it. Another reading prompt for the X's and O's readathon is romantic comedy, and so can you guess what book I'm going to choose for that one? Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. I've never read anything from this author before, but I've heard the pitch as sort of like SNL vibes, which I love Saturday Night Live, so I don't know, we'll see how true that reference is. It says Sally Mills is a sketch writer for the Night Owls, the late night live comedy show that airs each Saturday. So SNL, basically. But with a couple of heartbreaks under her belt, she's long abandoned the search for love, settling instead for the occasional hookup, career success, and a close relationship with her stepfather to round out a satisfying life. But when Sally's friend and fellow writer Danny Horst begins dating Annabelle, a glamorous actor who's guest hosted the show, he joins the not-so-exclusive group of talented but average-looking and even dorky men at the show and in society at large who've gotten romantically involved with incredibly beautiful and accomplished women. Why do I feel like this is totally like a dig on Pete David, what's his name? Pete Davidson? Pete Davidson. You know, the guy that's dated like Kim Kardashian and Ariana Grande. I feel like that's a dig on him. Anyway, I've heard mixed reviews about this one as well. I see people that either have like a 1 or 2 star or like a 4 or 5. The average rating is only like 3.68, but who knows? I may actually really like that one. The last reading prompt that I'm probably going to use is the flowers on the cover one. There are, I think, at least 1 or 2 other reading prompts, but honestly, like 3 books for me in the span of just like 5 days is kind of a lot. So I think that I don't want to bite off like more than I can chew. But for flowers on the cover, I chose The Stationery Shop. This is by Marjan Kamala. By the way, all 3 of these books that I'm choosing for this readathon were books that were already on my TBR and actually have been for quite some time. So I'm also excited to get some more books off of my TBR. If you followed me in January, you know that that's kind of been like my running theme, trying to get books off of my TBR that have been on there for a while. But The Stationery Shop says that this is a heartfelt new novel by the award-nominated author of Together Tea. I've never read anything from this author or heard of them, I think, before either, honestly. But this follows Roya, a dreamy, idealistic teenager living amid the political upheaval of 1953 Tehran, who finds a literary oasis in kindly Mr. Fakhri's neighborhood stationery shop stocked with books and pens and bottles of jewel-colored ink. Then Mr. Fakri introduces Roya to his other favorite customer, handsome Bahman, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, who has a burning passion for justice and a love for Rumi's poetry. The romance blossoms and the little stationery shop remains their favorite place in all of Tehran. A few short months later, on the eve of their marriage, Roya agrees to meet Bahman at the town square when violence erupts. The result is that there was a coup d'etat that forever changes their country's future. In the chaos, Bahman never shows, and for weeks Roya tries desperately to contact him. Her efforts are fruitless. So with a sorrowful heart, she moves on to a college in California, to another man, to a life in New England. More than 60 years later, an accident of fate leads her back to Bahman and offers her a chance to ask him the questions that have haunted her for more than a century. Why did you leave me? Where did you go? I don't know. For some reason, like, this just sounds really intriguing to me. I think it's like a little bit of like a historical fiction romance mashup, which I do really like historical fiction, so I thought maybe this would be another way to like sneak a romance in there and something that I might actually enjoy. So those are my first 3 books for February for the X's and O's readathon. The next readathon starts right after the first one. So February 5th through February 19th, we have a longer readathon. This is Randomathon, and this is hosted by Macy, the Brightside Girl. I participated in a couple of her readathons last year. When I wasn't doing BookTube, I just did it like on my own for fun, and they are so fun. She markets these as like a party, like a book party, basically. She has all kinds of fun activities, fun photo prompts, and of course, lots of fun reading prompts. The reason this is called Randomathon is because she has set like readathons throughout the year that she does over and over every year. But for Randomathon, she wants to be able to like change the theme from year to year. This year she chose like circus and like festival theme park kind of vibes for this one. And so the first reading prompt for this one is curtains on the cover, and for that I chose Water for Elephants. This is another like historical fiction romance, so obviously lots of romance in the month of February. But this is by Sarah Gruen. This is a quite popular book. There's like over 1.5 million ratings on Goodreads with a 4.11 average rating. So I have pretty high hopes for this one. It says that when Jacob Jankowski, recently orphaned and suddenly adrift, jumps into a passing train, I love like train adventures too. He enters a world with freaks, drifters, and misfits, and a second-rate circus struggling to survive during the Great Depression, making one-night stands in town after endless town. A veterinary student who almost earns his degree, Jacob is put in charge of caring for the circus menagerie. It's there he meets Marlena, the beautiful young star of an equestrian act. Also love horses, who is married to August, the charismatic but twisted animal trainer. He also meets Rosie, an elephant who seems untrainable until he discovers a way to reach her. It sounds great to me. So the next book that I'm choosing is like going a completely different direction. So this is Joyland by Stephen King. The reading prompts I'm using for Joyland, there are 2 of them actually. One is set in a theme park, and 2 is Ferris wheel on the cover, and Joyland happens to be both. This is a Stephen King book that, let's see, when was this published? According to Goodreads, it says June of 2013, and it only has like 150,000 ratings. I think it's like maybe one of his lesser read books. It says that college student Devin Jones took the summer job at Joyland hoping to forget the girl who broke his heart, but he wound up facing something far more terrible: the legacy of a vicious murder, the fate of a dying child, and dark truths about life and what comes after. A riveting story about love and loss, about growing up and growing old, and about those who don't get to do either because death comes for them before their time. It is at once a mystery, a horror story, and a bittersweet coming-of-age novel that will leave even the most hard-boiled reader profoundly moved. I read a couple of Stephen King's books last year. I've read The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon like a long time ago, and then last year I read Billy Summers and Fairy Tale, so we'll see what I think of Joyland. The next book that I chose is for the prompt Misfit Characters, and this is The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick. I just finished reading Big Tree. I think in my January wrap-up coming, I think next week, you guys will see what I thought about Big Tree, and that's the first time I've read from this author. But obviously, like, spoiler alert, the fact that I'm putting another one of his books on my TBR for February tells you that I did enjoy that book. But the synopsis for this one says, Orphan, clockkeeper, and thief Hugo lives in the walls of a busy Paris train station where his survival depends on secrets and anonymity. But when his world is suddenly interlocks with an eccentric bookish girl and a bitter old man who runs a toy booth in the station, Hugo's undercover life and his most precious secret are put in jeopardy. A cryptic drawing, a treasured notebook, a stolen key, a mechanical man, and a hidden message from Hugo's dead father form the backbone of this intricate, tender, and spellbinding mystery. This is a middle grade graphic novel, so just like Big Tree was, and so I'm really excited to read that one. It should be a nice, like, fast-paced read, which will help with my ambitious TBR. The last reading prompt is magic or illusions, and so for this one I'm going to do The Librarian of Crooked Lane by C.J. Archer. I don't see very many ratings on this on Goodreads. I just happened to come across this as like a audiobook that Hoopla was recommending to me, and so it sounded really interesting, and it sounds like there's some magic involved. It's marketed as like an adult historical fiction, fantasy, mystery, magic, historical, romance. Like, sounds like it doesn't really know what this book wants to be, which always makes me just a little bit nervous, but the synopsis sounded kind of interesting to me. It says, a librarian with a mysterious past, a war hero with a secret, and the heist of a magic painting. Librarian Sylvia Ashe knows nothing about her past, having grown up without a father and a mother who refused to discuss him. When she stumbles upon a diary that suggests that she is descended from magicians, she's skeptical. After all, magicians are special, and she's just an ordinary girl who loves books. She seeks the truth from a member of the most prominent family of magicians, but she quickly learns that finding the truth won't be easy, especially when he turns out to be as artless as her. I honestly don't have super high hopes for that. I just hope it to be like a kind of fun little audiobook listen. But those are all the books that I have, like, for sure slotted for my February TBR. But the other thing that I want to be able to do in February is scratch off some of these top 100 books from this scratch off poster that I got myself for my birthday last month. I have a few scratched off already, but I thought it would be fun to have you help me choose a couple of these, I don't know, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of these or so to scratch off and read for February. Because of the readathons, I basically will only have like from the 20th through the 29th to read like a few more books at the end of February. Because readathons can tend to like take a lot out of you, I thought I would keep it to some of like the fun, lighthearted, middle grade type of books that are on this scratch off poster. So I have some choices for you, and I would love for you to leave your votes in the comments for me. I will give you like an emoji to represent each of the books. These are pretty well-known classic childhood books, so I don't think I really need a synopsis for any of these. So I have 5 different choices for you to pick from, and you can pick like 1, 2, or 3 if you want to pick all 5. I'll just tally them up and I will just see how many of them I can get to at the end of the month, but I would like to be able to get to like whichever ones are voted for the most, if that makes sense. The choices that I picked are Harry Potter. I've never read anything from the Harry Potter series. I have seen the first movie, so obviously if I start with the first book, I'm kind of gonna know what happens, but my son actually has like a really beautiful illustrated version of this that I would really love to read, to be honest with you. So if you want me to read Harry Potter, leave a little wizard emoji. Winnie the Pooh is one of the choices on the scratch off poster. Obviously we all know about Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin, Tigger, Piglet, Eeyore. I've seen the, you know, movies and like TV shows back in the day when I was a kid, but I've never read the book Winnie the Pooh, so that is one that I would love to do. Leave the bear emoji if you want me to read Winnie the Pooh. Alice's Adventure in Wonderland is another one of the options. Again, seen the movies, never read the book, by Lewis Carroll. So if you want me to read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, leave the rabbit emoji. Mary Poppins, oh my gosh, like that was probably like my favorite or one of my favorite Disney movies as a kid, but again, never read the book for it. If you want me to read Mary Poppins, leave me the umbrella emoji. I love the part of the movie when she like flies through the umbrella, and I think on the cover of the book she's also like holding an umbrella, at least one of the editions. And the last one is Pippi Longstocking. Man, I haven't heard that name in forever until I saw it on the scratch off poster. I know that there was like a movie that I watched when I was a kiddo. It wasn't a favorite of mine, but I know she has red hair like I do. Out of all like the plots, I think Pippi Longstocking would be the one that I would be going into most mostly blind. So for Pippi, I don't know, leave the red heart emoji because she has red hair. So those are the choices for you to help me decide the last part of my February TBR, but that is everything that I hope to get to for next month. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned if you want to read those along with me. Of course, I'll be doing reading vlogs for all of these things. And yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks again for watching and for voting. Give the video a thumbs up too. I always forget to say that, but it really does help my small little channel grow. I appreciate it so much. See you again next time. Bye-bye.